بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of May, 2022, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 307. And before we go any further, I want to wish all our brothers and sisters a very happy Eid and pray that God accepts all our devotions and prayers and fasting that we carried out during the month of Ramadan, and also that the lessons that we have learned during Ramadan, we may carry them through to next Ramadan. In this broadcast, we'll continue looking at words of chapter 2, verse 99 of the Holy Quran. And today we look at the words Wama and Yakfuru and Biha and Al-Fasiqun. And that will complete our discussion of this verse of the Holy Quran. Just to remind you that these broadcasts are brought to you by the Lahore Movement, and our founder, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, taught that the Holy Prophet was the last prophet, because the Quran says he is Khatamun Nabiyyin, and he, the Holy Prophet, explained its meaning by saying La Nabi Abadi. Others bring to the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Ghulam Ahmad said that in accordance with the hadith, he was a mujaddid, a reformer, and he said that he is the person that the Holy Prophet referred to as the Messiah and Mahdi in many of the sayings of the Holy Prophet. He further taught that although people say some prophetic revelation is missing from the Holy Quran, this cannot be possible, because God says that he has revealed the Holy Quran and he is a guardian over it. So nothing can be missing from the Holy Quran, or something that is in the Holy Quran cannot be cancelled, abrogated. He stressed that every reciter of the kalima is a Muslim, because the Holy Prophet, when returning from fighting said that Muslims are returning. Sorry, because the Holy Prophet said, I was about to recite the wrong hadith, because the Holy Prophet said that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima that you're a heretic, you're a kafir, then this decree falls upon the person who uttered it. And that jihad is a fundamental duty of every Muslim. But many Muslims define jihad to be some kind of a war where you kill those who don't embrace Islam. The Holy Prophet, when returning from fighting, said Muslims were returning from the minor jihad to the major jihad, and then went on to explain that the major jihad is jihad bin nafs, and that is struggling to control your own vain desires and greed and etc. This is the Holy Prophet's definition of jihad. And we should bow our heads to the Holy Prophet's commands. Let us turn to today's topic, which, as I said, is chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, verse 99. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وَلَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ وَمَا يَكْفُرُ بِهَا إِلَّا الْفَاسِقُونَ. And we indeed have revealed to you clear messages, and no one disbelieves in them except those who exceed the bounds, the transgressors. So, let us have a look. I seem to have lost my notes. Here we are. Okay. The first word we are going to look at is wama. This is a combination of two segments, wa and ma. Wa meaning and. This basically continues. What it's saying is what was just said, we continue with that. So it's very simple. The next word we are going to look at is Yakfuru, and its triliteral root is Kaf, Fa, and Ra. And it occurs in the Holy Quran. Sorry, the words made based on this root, there are 14 of them, and they appear in the Holy Quran 525 times. So 289 times it occurs as kafara, 129 times as kafirun, and 37 times as kufr, and 27 times as kafir, and 14 times as kafara, and 12 times as kafur. And we have already seen many times that it generally, its basic meaning is to hide. But you can take it further, and you can say that by hiding, you can mean to deny, you can mean to clear. You know, it's like the old canvas that painters used to use when canvas was very expensive, and they would paint something, and then if they wanted something else, they will cover it and then paint over the top. And if we look at the Holy Quran, we can, for example, see that in chapter 29, verse 25, ثُمَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يَكْفُرُ بَعْضُكُمْ بِبَعْضٍ. And then on that day, you will deny each other's friendship. See, here you can say hide, but you're hiding that friendship by denying it. So you can here translate it as denial. But as I said, generally, we always take this to mean something bad, because, you know, we talk about kufr and kafirs and deniers and so on. But if you look at al-kafaratu, that is something that hides, that covers up a wrongdoing. For example, we just passed through the month of Ramadan, and you know, if for some reason you couldn't fast one day, you didn't wake up in time or whatever, the Holy Quran gives instructions on what you should do. Chapter 5, verse 89. فَكَفَّارَتُهُ إِطْعَامُ عَشَرَةِ مَسَاكِينَ. Then you food 10 poor people. What does that do? See, look at the word فَكَفَّارَتُهُ. It covers up, it hides, it does away with the fact that you missed that fast. It also gives you the real meaning of fasting, which is that you develop in yourself sympathy for those who are in need. But then Holy Quran also says in chapter 5, verse 65, وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقُوا لَكَفَّرْنَا عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ. And if people of the book had believed and they had acted piously or righteously, then I would have covered up their sins. Kaffarona. I would have hidden them. I would have covered them up. So here you would say that God would have forgiven their sins. In the same way, in chapter 4, uh, verse 31, it says, Nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum. And we'll forgive your minor indiscretions. But the word used is nukaffiru. We'll hide them. Or in many other places. Wa innal hasanati yuzhibna sayyi'at. Chapter 11, verse 114. There's no doubt that good deeds cover up sins. And then there's discussion about which deed can cover up what deed and so on. That's people like to argue and how big a good deed should be to cover up a bad deed and this kind of thing. But our point is that to show that the word is not necessarily a term of abuse. And there are many applications of it, and some of its applications are good. So if you do a good deed and that hides your bad deeds, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And hiding in the sense of not believing is that, truth has come and these people hide the truth by saying to others, as Kufar did, that, this is not correct, it's all fabrication and everything else. So the next is biha. And B is when you add that in front of something, that means with whatever follows. We have Bismillah, with the name of Allah. Biha, that's with him. Next word is simple, illa, that means except. Showing an exception, not accept, except. And then we have al-fasiqun, and its root is fasin, qaf, and words made from that. There are 4 words which we find in the Holy Quran made from this root, and in total words based on this root occur in the Holy Quran 54 times, 37 times as fasiq, and 10 times as fasaqa. And when we look at the meaning of this word, it is that someone who is disobedient, who, in fact, its literal meaning is someone who goes out of, actually, let's go back. Originally, the word didn't apply to human beings. As you know that if you have a date, the fruit date, then you have a pulp, and that is covered by a skin. And the skin allows the pulp to ripen and get to the right texture for taste and so on. But if somehow that skin splits, then the pulp begins to ooze out of it before it has ripened. And then it is not perfect. That's the original meaning. So the idea was that Islam provided guidance and a set of rules which, if you followed, would perfect your faith, would perfect your character, etc. But it may be that you start following Islam and then for some reason you stop doing it or doing a part of what Islam says. And then that will mean that having started, you have now forsaken, you have now disobeyed some divine commandment. So you would become a fasiq. Fasaqa an amri rabbihi. Chapter 18, verse 50. And he exceeded, he went beyond the commandments of Rabbi, his Rabb, his Lord. Chapter 17, verse 16. Fasaqu fiha. And they are disobedient. So obviously, you have gone beyond the limit, so you become disobedient. So, but unfortunately, as I said about the word kafir, the same thing applies here. You know, kafir is not actually a term of abuse. All it means is that this person has certain characteristics. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. But we have made it into a term of abuse. That no, and we look at people that we call kafirs or fasiqs, with such hatred, as if there was personal enmity between us. I mean, if you go back to kafir, it simply means they're not members of a particular group. We've got elections coming up. We have conservatives and we have Labour. If someone comes and they say, I am a member of the Conservative Party and not Labour Party, is that abusing the other party? No, it's not. And he then goes on to say, well, if you vote for them, then remember, taxes will go up and this will happen and that will happen. He simply tells you the consequences of following a particular path, a particular political party. The Labour guy comes and he says, I'm Labour, I'm not Conservative. Is he insulting Conservatives? No, he's not. All he's doing is he's making a statement which shows which group he belongs to. That is all. There's nothing more than that. And then he goes on to say, well, if you join us, these are the advantages. If you join the conservatives, well, they don't care about the poor, and they always support the rich, and all this kind of thing. The Holy Quran does exactly the same thing. These are the people who've chosen to follow this manifesto called the Holy Quran. And the advantages of following it are these. Those are the people who've chosen not to follow this manifesto. And the disadvantages of not following it are these. But we go to extremes and make them into God knows what, and so on. And to get back to fasiq, an important thing to remember is this. That the Holy Quran in Surah Baqarah, I think verse 26, 27, says that fasiqeen, transgressors, are those who, having entered into a firm covenant with Allah, then they break that covenant. And rather than establish the relationship that they've been commanded to, they tear it up. Now, what is this relationship that these people are commanded to establish? This relationship is between humanity, between human beings. Islam has come to establish brotherhood between human beings, brotherhood and sisterhood between human beings. And it is saying that they are dividing up humanity. And we see this, unfortunately, happening a lot in countries where people claim to follow Islam. And in some countries where there are arranged marriages, when people set out, the first thing is, what is the caste of the boy and what is the caste of the girl? Are you Sheikh? Are you Chaudhry? Are you Sayyid? Are you this? Are you that? If you're Sheikh, then within that caste there are subcastes. If you're Chaudhry, within that caste there are subcastes. And then what is your religion? And then what is your sect? And then what is your subsect? And then what country are you from? And what province are you from? We take the example of Pakistan, are you a Balochi? Are you a Punjabi? So, you have to be Punjabi, maybe even from a particular part of Punjab. It's not enough to be Muslim, but you have to be Sunni, or then within Sunni, you have to be Deobandi or Barelvi or whatever you are. This is transgressing Allah's rules and Allah's laws. You're going beyond the limit, exceeding the limit. God just says those who believe and those who don't. Of course, there are differences of opinions. This is why you have Conservative Party and the Labour Party. But that doesn't mean to say that Conservatives should say Labour are traitors, they are stooges of communism. One day we should say conservatives are stooges of Americans and, all this kind of thing. This is what leads to hatred and enmity, etc. These are simply two different groups. And why they're two different groups? Because each has a basic ethos that others support. That is all. There's nothing more than that. Okay, with that, and the prayer that whoever you are, wherever you may be, may Allah keep the whole of humanity safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.